that I show you how to tie one of these amamas on the head. Now, the thing is, when you go to the shop, you'll probably buy one which is quite flat. It won't be as crinkly as this. It'll be quite flat and it'll be in a flat pack. So the first thing you need to do is to get it into your washing machine and give it a good few spins. We're talking about probably 3 washes, few washes, whatever you can do until it actually when it comes out, don't iron it, just leave it to dry naturally. Okay. Now, when you go to the shop again, you can get all sorts of sizes and lengths. Now, this one particularly is, I'm just going to measure it for you in terms of cubits. So we've got 1, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just about 7, just over 7. Okay. Now, this is a good length. I mean, it's actually a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to have sort of 7 or to have 9 sort of arm sort of lengths of this. Now, again, what I've said is really important. You've got to get it this crinkly or something to get a good sort of look, because otherwise it'll kind of not fit properly. Now, it's important also to get the right hat, okay? Because this, just want to share something with you. I was wearing the amama for many years when I was studying, and I actually wore the wrong hat. And the wrong hat was the one, it was quite, I mean, you need a hard hat, fine, but the wrong one was the one that didn't have any holes or anything around it. So what happened is that I actually lost quite a lot of hair because I was wearing it quite a lot and it used to get quite hot in there. Now what I've got is I've got this hat here. Now this hat here is, you can see there straight through, you've got holes, and this is found in Bangladesh. Nice hat. It's a sort of a hard hat, so it actually keeps the amama nicely on. Now, you can wear it. You can tie this on with a hat which is not that hard. The only problem is that you'll have to, every time you take it off, you'll have to retie the whole amama again, which is not a problem if you're quite fast at doing it. But if you're not that fast, you'll be there quite a few minutes, you know, putting it on again and again. So the hat is important, and the holes are important because you want the air to get in, you want the sunlight to get in there as well, and it'll keep your hair looking nice. But if you don't get the right hat with the holes on, you'll kind of feel that it's getting damp in there, it'll get hot in there, you'll probably get a headache as well. So just bear that in mind, inshallah. Now, once you've given it a few washes and it's become, you know, you've left it to dry and it's become nice and crinkly, you then take it, and what you want to do is, with this 7 one, I've actually measured this so I know how many rounds it takes. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 5 rounds of this, okay, 5 rounds. And before we do the 5 rounds, I'll take the end of this, okay, and I'm going to just put it together, just as you watch me here now, put it together like this, because you want the end part to be straight. If that's not straight, then by the other end, you might not see it become straight. It might come up sort of different lengths, okay? So as you can see there, I've put it all together in one sort of length. And now what I'm going to do is take this part, okay, put it round, okay, put it round, okay, I'll show you just there, put it round so that the back part here, over here, that part has to stay there, and you've got about less than or just about an arm's length hanging out. Now you can see my hand here holding this. This is probably the most important part, and after this, what I need to do is I need to put this, I'm going to put this under my chin so I can carry on talking. Normally what I'll do is I'll probably put it in my mouth so that I can get a good grip of it, but I'll just put it under my chin. And what I want to then do is hold my hand where it is there, and I want to take this out, and the first round I do is going to be pretty much straight one. So it's going to be straight all the way. Now what I've done here is, if you can see over here, it's in alignment with my hat, with the top there it's in alignment with the top of the hat. Okay, now I can just lift that up slightly. What you want to also make sure of is, sometimes see this edge here, which is the side of the amama, it can become a bit bulky, and you don't want those parts to hang out or stick out. So as I'm going along here, I've got to be careful of the two sides of the amama and make sure that it doesn't form a sort of a bulgy edge, which won't give me the good look that I want. Okay, now as you can see how I'm holding this, I've taken the first part and held it, gripped it with my hand here so that it doesn't move. And then I take again the next part. Now this is going to be the round 2. Now round 2 is going to be from the bottom part of my right hand side and is going to go to the top part of my left hand side. Okay, so once I see, now that I've got grip over there, I don't need to actually hold it. Okay, I can actually let go of my hands. But what I'm doing here is I'm holding it with my right hand so I get a good grip. And what I want to do is form, if you notice here, look, what I've done is from the bottom part of my right is gone towards the top part over here. Okay, so the first one was straight, second one went from bottom to the top. The third one and the fourth one are going to go from the top to the bottom. So again, as you can see, I've held it with my hand over here. I can easily take my right hand, take the amama again from on top. And if you want to sort of play around, loosen it up a bit, this is the time to do it, because you've got a good grip with your left hand. With your right hand, you take the grip, and again what you do is you want to take it from the top to the bottom. So as you can see there, I let go, and with this now what I can do is I can play around with this and I can make sure that it becomes a bit flat, because if it's too thin, if that becomes too thin, and again you won't get the look. So you want to spread it out slightly, and from top to bottom, get a slightly little angle there, and I've put that next layer on. Now the next layer again will go from the top again to the bottom. So I'll show you this again. I've got my hand here, this time from the back. I've got my hand here. I'll do the top, bottom, and I can actually let go. And you can see that I don't need to have the full sort of grip, because each layer is holding another layer. Okay, so I can put the whole sort of layer on, over on top. You can see it's going on top of the same layer. And when I take it to the bottom here, I want you to see the side here, making sure that the bulgy part on the two sides are not actually showing. So again, I'm holding it here. I don't need to put any other further grip. And this is going to be the final round now. And as you can see, what's happened here is we've had one straight layer, and we've had one layer from bottom to top. We've got two layers from top to bottom. So that's now kept it slightly imbalanced. It needs one more from the bottom to the top. And this is the last round. So this is the last one that goes round. And what I'll do is I'll just take it around. Just make sure, look here, if you notice here, I'm slightly raising this. Why? Because I want to make sure that it's a thick sort of layer. And this one will go from the bottom here all the way, forming that arch to the top. Now, once I've gone to the top, this is now going to be important, that I need to now tie the amama, because you can see I've got all the layers done now. If I want to smoothen this out, you can see there, I don't know if the camera gets that, it's slightly in. So if I want to smoothen that out, I can take that layer back, and I can make sure I can put this layer down slightly so that it grips on a bit more. And as you can see there now, that's looking a lot more firm than what it was looking like before. So I've got the middle part here. It's formed that slight cross there in middle. And when I take that to the top, this is important now. So I've taken to the top, as you can see there. I need to put this part right in the first layer, and where the hat is. So in between the hat and the first layer. So if I just put it nicely in there, tuck it inside, so it goes between the hat and the first layer. Once I put that in, I can straighten the bottom part up to the middle. So that's down there. the top part is down there. Now the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is to have a layer or 2 layers between the shoulder blades. The layers should not go beyond the spine, the bottom part of the spine, but as long as it hangs there between the shoulder blades, then that is the sunnah. Now I'm going to teach you another trick now. Now that it's on here, why I chose a hard hat and why I'm choosing this whole way of doing is because it's going to be very easy for me now to take the amama off and to put the amama back on, and I can actually keep this amama on now for 2 to 3 weeks without me having to do this again. 2 to 3 weeks, and I usually do this. And you've got to also be careful when you do wudu. Try and take your amama off first, keep it off and do your wudu, because if you do it with your amama on, you'll see as you're rubbing your face, you're washing your face, if the water gets to the top here, over a week, it'll form a slight sort of brown mark here because there's some moisture that's coming off your face and it's going onto the amama. So to avoid that, when you do wudu, try to take the amama off separately, do your full wudu, dry yourself and then put the amama on. Now, to take the amama off and on very easily and keep the same amama for a good 2 to 3 weeks. When I say 2 to 3 weeks, I mean, I'm talking about in England, okay? If I travel to other countries, like if I travel to Bangladesh or something, this won't last for more than 4 or 5 days because the density in that part of the region is very different. It'll make the whole thing start to sort of become loose after a little while because there's moisture in the air. But in England, I can actually keep it for long and it'll stay white for at least 2 weeks. I can keep it good and white as long as I said, the way you handle the amama. So what you want to do is this. You take the back part of your hand, put it in between the 2 parts that are hanging down on your head, and you lift this part up to the top and you put it on top here. So now I've got the whole of the back now free, okay, and it's at the top there. Once I do that, I'll take the sides of my hands and I'll put them just behind here so that I can slip it off. So I'm going to slip it off towards the front, okay? So if I just push it slightly, push it off, as you can see, now this is the full amama, okay? It was easy, and I know I'm making it look easy, but if you practice, inshallah, you will become perfect with this. Now, that's an easy way of just slipping the amama off. Now, to put it back on, I need to put the forehead right here where the front part is, and I have to do the reverse. So I've got to slip it back on, okay? So if I put the front part here, okay, and then I just slip it back on and then put this top part, put it all the way down. That's the amama back on again. And if I want to just make sure there might be some tucked edges there, might just want to just move it around a bit just to get all the edges back out again. That's fine. That's done again. Okay, so that's the way you just very quickly, I'll show you quickly now. Done. And back on again. Or if you want to be a bit more careful, then use the 2 sides like I showed you earlier, and you take it off and then you just slip it back on, move it around a bit, and there you have the amama back on. Okay, now what I want, guys, is this is a way of making the shape that I make. You can get an amama and make it all straight like some Egyptians do. You can make it in different styles, and look at the Yemeni style, look at the, there are many styles out there how to put the amama. This is one that I learned when I was young and I was studying, in my madrasa. I got taught this one and I liked it and I've used it. But there are many other amamas you can do. If you have a short one, okay, this is important as well. If you don't have as long as mine and you can't do 5 rounds, you measure how many rounds you can do to create those tails at the back. Okay, if you don't have enough to do 2 tails, you might just do enough just to create one. So imagine if I had something like 6 sort of lengths, then what you would do is the last one would probably go inside here, and you won't have this piece. Okay, you'll only have that piece, which is fine as well, which is also a sunnah. And if you don't have that either, so you've only got 5, then you take a layer off. So you'll take a layer off, or you'll take 2 layers off. So I did for you 5 layers, which gives you a kind of a good sort of look of some kind of thickness to the amama. But if you want to do 4 rounds, 3 rounds, even 2 rounds, you can do, which is 1 up, 1 down. So usually the ones that are only 3 arm cubits long, you will be able to do those with 2 rounds, one going up, one going from top to bottom, and one going from bottom to top, and just tuck it inside there. You can do it with two sort of rounds as well. But choose whatever style you want to use. But the reason why I showed you this is I'm showing you so that you can practice and do the amama, because it's a sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we need to keep the sunnahs of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam alive. And inshallah, jazakumullah khair wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Hayya 'alal falah.